Okay.
So we're still waiting.
To get the rendering? Is he going to do another one?
I don't know.
Okay.
Now, technically, if he pushes the fence back, he doesn't take the season of
Okay.
He wants to do a screen.
Okay. Are you not going to send it to the whole committee, just to me, when it comes in? Okay.
So as soon as I get it.
Okay.
What happened to that deal? Y'all still working on it?
He asked me to email him those photos and the,
Four days, like what your signature can say for.
Or?
Four, yeah, just because four.
Guess we're ready to start? Okay. Welcome to the Design and Historic Review Commission. It's Thursday, May 19th at 10:05. Our regular chairman isn't here, so I'll be sitting in to take his place, so bear with me. We call the meeting to order, and we have a quorum present. We will ask for, if everybody had a chance to look at the consent agenda, the meetings. We have a motion to approve. Second. Second. We have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we will run now to our regular agenda. We'll start out with RCC 22-06, 1028-1040 Holiday Drive, a request for River Corridor District approval for construction of townhomes being 0.25 acres located at 1028-1040 Holiday Drive.
Jeff Fisher, Chief Planner. Before I begin, I'd like to introduce our new Commissioner, Stacy Elkins, joining us, and we appreciate her service on the board as well. Okay, so our first case today is RC 2206. There are 4 townhomes that are in the river corridor, and so that's why it's brought forward. And all we're looking at today is the exterior improvements on those townhomes. So if you all approve this today, they can start construction. There are 4 townhomes already that were built. Just give me one second here. So these ones here were previous and currently exist. These 4 are under construction, so this is going to be the next 4 along this street. So these are the 4 under construction, 1012 to 1024. So they're going to be in that vacant area that you can see over here. These are the oldest ones that were at the corner of Bell Street that were already built. And then this is the view behind the, looking towards the river. So the river corridor is just behind those trees. A site plan, concept plan that shows there's going to be a little bit of vegetation in there as well. And then this is our color rendering. So you can see the different colors and materials. You're going to have metal garage doors, glass windows, and doors, as well as a board and batten siding on the second floor. And then on the first floor, this is going to be ephes and I believe stone around here. And then on the second floor, you'll have the cedar and the board and batten siding. So at least 3 different colors will be used. I believe when I spoke with the applicant, that cream color is probably going to be the natural choice, although it could be the Greek Villa. And then on the second floor, you'll have the elusive green. It's more like a grayish green. And then for the trim elements and the roof will be a black fox. So that's what they're proposing. These are some of the material samples that were given. I meant to include or mention that the lights as well that are going to be on the homes will be these historic-looking gas lantern lights. Staff recommends approval. Building mass and scale policies in the River Corridor Master Plan. That's what we look at for approval. Those materials are consistent with the massing and scale. There's provides differentiation, as you can see in the window and door designs. Some things are popping out, some things are scaled back. So that meets those policies. And then the colors and materials themselves, so that ephes cedar siding and composite roof will be quality materials you'd see in construction projects. And then those colors are fairly consistent with what's in the area and the river corridor behind it. Staff recommends approval of RC 2206, subject to the standard 2 conditions, so colors, dimensions, and materials shall be consistent with the renderings approved by DHRC. Minor deviations can be approved by the planning director. And number 2, that they obtain all required permits. Any questions or comments? I believe the applicant is here.
Any questions for staff? Okay. We will now open it up for public comment. Does anybody here like to speak for or against this project? Please state your name.
Ryan Benson, owner of Clearview Custom Homes. It's a project that we're constructing, then we're owning as well. So, like I said, Jeff kind of covered everything. We already had the first 4 under construction. I don't know how it, it slipped through or whatever wasn't done. Didn't know about this on phase 1. So, already had that. Had the same color palette on those. Those pictures were pre-painted. They've already started the painting of those phase 1s right now, but they'll look very similar to these.
A real nice project. My question, did the other part of that project come before DHRC?
It did not.
It did not? How'd that happen?
Well, there was an interpretation at that time that residential was exempted. What Jeff found through his research is that it actually says detached residential, and these are all attached. So the other one should have come before us, but it did not, and it was city's mistake, and so we're kind of catching it on this one.
Okay.
And I own that whole street, both sides now, and we'll continue that. Is this something that, we'll have to do each project, we'll have to come before there, or is there guidelines that we can approve for the whole street?
I believe you would have to come each time. If you think that you're going to construct multiple lots, then you may just want to give us the renderings for all of them, even if you don't choose to construct all of them at the same time.
Okay. All right. Unless anybody has any questions, that's all I've got.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll close public comment, open it up to the board. Anybody have any discussion, questions? Want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve RC 22-06 as presented.
A second. We have all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Passes. We'll move on to the next project, DD 22-19, 24 East College Avenue, a request for downtown district approval to allow a telecommunication facility with tower and related equipment to the central business district located at 24 East College Avenue, being 0.828 acres.
All right, thank you all. Our next case today is for a 15-foot monopole tower. First Christian Church is leasing out that backspace over here on their property, and so that would be where the tower is going to go. It meets all the setbacks in the central business district zoning, but because it's in the downtown district overlay zone, it needs to come here for review. So we still looked at the materials and colors to make sure that it was consistent. This is looking north, so they've got some school buses parked there. This is probably a better view, so it would kind of be right in this area and then come up on that corner. And then looking south from the tower at College Hills, and then looking west towards South Bell Street. And then this is looking south, so their church is across the street, and then they want to put the tower on the side with the parking lot on the north side of the church. So there's the conceptual drawings, 115-foot monopole, pretty standard. They are going to put a 7-foot tall solid masonry wall around it. The telecommunications section of the zoning ordinance requires a 7-foot fence, but usually it doesn't have to be screened. We wanted it screened, just the fact that it's more sensitive in the downtown area. So just having a brick wall that will match the same brick color as the church and some of the other buildings we thought was appropriate. And then the tower itself will be painted a very light gray, so it should kind of blend into the skyline and not be too intrusive. There's the brick wall there. They'll have some David tell me again what these are. Those stanchions or those pieces that stick up a little bit. I guess the columns.
The pullouts?
Yeah, just pull out. So they'll come up a little bit and break up that differentiation in the wall. So I think I've gone over the rationale to approve. It's consistent with the policies in the River Corridor Master Plan. Most of that's focused on buildings and, structures like canopies and awnings, and not so much on towers, but using the similar policies, we believe it's generally consistent. So the applicant is here for any questions. Any questions or comments on this?
This doesn't fall into the same deals like the billboards and all that. I remember there was an issue down on 4th Street with that. So this is a whole different, they don't fall into the same guidelines?
Correct. They are allowed by zoning. The standard 2 conditions were the same from the previous report, so I won't repeat them, but the third one is that they do need a conditional use from Planning Commission. So they are allowed with the conditional use. But we wanted the design, y'all to approve the design first before we take it to the Planning Commission.
Okay. Questions for staff? Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll open it up for public comment. Is there anyone here who'd like to speak for or against this project?
Good morning, Commission. My name is
Please state your name.
Dane Wilkins. I'm representing Vincent Gerard. We're representing Verizon as the consultants on this project. I have a couple of slides. Hopefully.
Keep going. Just hit the.
Okay. There we go. So really, I'm just going to show you a couple of different renderings of what we see that will look like the final development here. So it is a little farther away from the corridor, the river corridor. It's in an empty parking lot, as he was shown before. So this is an example of something we've done elsewhere. It's textured CMU concrete, but doesn't necessarily have to be this color. So we've decided to go with something that kind of matches the local texture and color of the area. As we stated earlier, it's this red fenccrete. So it's normally we'll do either like a chain link depending on where it's located, but because it's in downtown, we want to do something that looks a little bit better. Here's just an example of what these things look like from kind of up close to a little bit farther away. And then we have a photo simulation of what that'll look like whenever you're looking at it from down the street. Just kind of barely pokes up over the ridge, but that is accurate. And of course,
Can you bring that back?
Sure.
The picture? So, I see. Oh, you have the tower.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
right?
So it's really not that much taller than that building.
Now, whenever you get away from it, you can have
Yeah.
your line of sight.
Mm-hmm.
So most people like to think that it's way taller than it actually is, and it's really not.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's just it. I like to run through those just on a regular basis, just so people get a better understanding. So,
And what company are you with? I'm sorry.
sure. It's Vincent Gerard is representing Verizon Wireless.
And Vincent Gerard is a contractor.
We are a
law?
consultant, so we basically do this across the state and a little bit in Oklahoma.
Go around and consult and find spots for these.
Well, we won't necessarily find the spots, but once they do get found, we will go and help, get these things approved by, all the different commissions and, of course, council. So and a lot of these guys are really necessary for, 911 and very much so emergency situations like that. So we do have a pretty strong, whenever we pick a place, we're pretty certain that this is the best place we can find. So if you guys have any questions for me, please feel free.
And will 5G ultimately be implemented in these towers?
I really can't speak to that. That's more of the RF engineer side. We just make sure that we have enough places on there to have co-locations so you can have multiple different, competitors. That's something that we always make sure we have. So you're not just going to have only Verizon on this tower, right? So it provides a marketplace. So, if they want to compete for that new technology, they can go ahead and do that.
The brick fencing is very nice. You're making it as attractive as you possibly can.
Sure. Sometimes we'll have to do barbed wire or something like that.
Yeah,
We do not want to have
this
to
is
deal with
nice.
Got it. You guys have any questions,
you.
please feel free.
Appreciate it. Any questions? Any more questions? Okay, thank you. We'll close public comment now, open it up to the board. Anybody have any discussion? Somebody would like to make a motion? Get a second? Second, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Nope. Motion passes. We'll move on to the third item, DD 22-20, 59 North Conyngham. Oop, pay the electric bill. A request for downtown district approval to allow repainting and signage onto an existing building, fencing, and walk-in cooler located at 59 North Conyngham Street, being 0.458 acres.
Morning, Commission. Kyle Warren, Planning and Development. As Mr. Missouri just said, this is DD 2220, Central Business District Zoning, District 3, Harry Thomas, in the downtown neighborhood. And it's basically between Conyngham and Abe. Can y'all hear me? South of First Street there. And this is the proposed site location. It was an old witch, and we've actually been looking at different projects for this location for about a year now, so it's been kind of tough to find someone to develop it. So good that it's coming towards a board now. Here's another view of it. And here are the overall architectural renderings. The applicant basically wants to build a fence to make a beer garden on the east side of it. He wants to keep the awning and just put an iron gate around it, I guess right here. And keep the brick the same, and then add on different, window awnings, I suppose. And I'll get to the colors here in a sec. And this is just a close-up. Another close-up. Also, there is a walk-in detached cooler that he plans to put stucco onto on the west side of the building. And these are the colors and materials. The sunbrella silvers for the awnings from around the windows. The Sherwin-Williams colored knitting needles is going to be for the stucco on the tower, the cooler, and the fence. And the peppercorn by Sherwin-Williams is going to be the window trim. And I can go back to kind of show the window trim being this right here. And then the fence, as it's shown here, this will be the inside of the fence, and then the outside will just have the slats. And this is the stucco over here. That will be shown on the cooler. And we recommend approval for the request of a repaint and signage onto existing building, fencing, and a walk-in cooler located at 59 North Conyngham, subject to the two normal conditions. Any questions?
Any questions for staff? Thank you.
The applicant is here to speak, I believe.
We'll open it up for public comment. Somebody would like to speak for or against this project? Eric, come on up.
I'm Eric Zobel. Excuse me, I'm the building owner. I'm just looking to have a satellite operation to 01 and have a tap room to sell more of the beer that I manufacture and create a nice outdoor beer garden. This is kind of my phase one. I'll probably see you again. I plan on doing, obviously some more plantings and some of those shade sails. So something that's going to have a little more visual impact. But for now, I'll probably just have some cornhole out there or something. But, you know, eventually I also want to have an outdoor bar where we can.
It'd be great for that neighborhood.
Well
Anybody have
done.
any questions?
When do you open?
Really? You gonna have food too?
Well, I will.
Yeah.
I'll have light fare. But if y'all approve, I'll be open even sooner.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Eric. Okay, we'll close public comment, open it up to the board. Does anybody have any questions, concerns? Can we get a motion from somebody?
Make a motion to approve?
Get a second? We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Ready to go. Okay, our next project is DD 22-21 Southwest 5 West Concho Avenue. A request for downtown district approval for an exterior remodel of the existing facade located at 5 West Concho Avenue, being 0.343 acres.
All right, thank you all. Next case today is 5 West Concho Avenue. This is in addition to the existing Angry Cactus restaurant. So this is going to be on the other side of the restaurant over here. This has been vacant for a long time, and kind of what the Angry Cactus looked like also at one time. So they're going to make some changes. So you can see the existing storefront, some of that ephes and the black around the windows. So just to go over this quick, in 2019, this is what was approved by the board. And so they're coming back and making a few changes to this, adding 2 lights instead of 1, and then keeping some of those original portions of the garage doors, which would be able to roll up. So this is the new rendering. Obviously, we believe it's even better than the previous one you all had approved. So I'll just go over the improvements here. Cleaning the existing brick, keeping the same window and door type of glass that you would see on the existing Angry Cactus. The new cedar kick plate panels underneath the windows. Also, you can see the similar design on the current building. And then the metal doors and downspouts will be painted that kind of, I guess, matte, black matte color that you would see on the existing building. And then you've got the 2 wall sconce lights. So the old design replaced those garage doors and just had 1 light. Now they're going to have 2 lights and keep some of that design. And my understanding from, I think the applicants here, would be this portion, I believe, could then roll up, but then this portion would stay the same, and then the panels, so it would just be this portion here. Otherwise, it would stay closed. These are the material samples that were provided. So, of course, this is the existing brick, no changes there. Garage frame will be that same color, and then you've got the metal sconce lights, and then that's the color of the paneling. Again, I'll match the downspouts and the window trim on the existing store. So we're pretty satisfied with it. We think it's an upgrade and just cleaning up downtown, and it'll allow the Angry Cactus to expand a little bit. So 2 conditions on this one. Again, the standard ones: colors, dimensions, and materials approved by DHRC, or minor changes by planning director. And number 2, applicant shall obtain all required permits. Any questions or comments? And the applicant is here.
Thank you. We'll open it up for public comment. Does anybody have anything to say?
Good morning, Lee Pfluger. I'm just here to answer questions. Tim's doing this. His volumes have nearly doubled since in the last 2 years. So he needs, and I don't know if you want to know the heart of the watermelon, but the heart of the watermelon is you can do probably seating in the front half of it's about 2,500 square feet and that out. And then the back part of it, he wants to increase his kitchen and provide space for his new culinary school. Now, y'all all know Tim. All I said, I'm just
that's
repeating
great.
what he said, okay? So if you got any questions, let me know, please.
Any questions for the applicant? Nope.
Supposed to be roll-up windows here in the middle, so he can,
Yeah, I was wondering what that was. So they're gonna
bring,
roll
so he can
up?
bring
Oh,
them
like
up.
a garage
and-
door.
And well,
Glass garage doors.
they're about, of the space this big, this much is gonna be a roll-up window, a door that will come back up in,
Yeah.
I guess, the 3 or 4 days a year that would
Yeah,
be.
that you can open
That
them.
would be good. Well, hey,
Yeah. Okay,
I'm just quoting.
all right. Anybody have any more questions? Okay, thank you, Mr. Pfluger.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we'll close public comment, open it up to the board. Anybody have any concerns, issues? I think it's a great project. I think all these are gonna be really good for downtown. Can I get a motion?
Motion to approve DD 22-21 as presented.
Can I get a second? We got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any against? Nope. Motion passes. We will move on to our last case, CA 22-03, 207 South Park Street. A request for approval of a certificate of appropriateness for the installation of a 76-panel roof-mounted photovoltaic solar system for the property located at 207 South Park, being 0.688 acres.
Thank you. As y'all remember, this was actually tabled from the last meeting, but I'll read it through again. It's at the southwest corner of Colorado Avenue and Park Street, District Number 5, Karen Hesse Smith, and the Santa Rita neighborhood. And this was the original rendering of what they wanted to do with the solar panels on the roof of their house and their accessory garage there. And then we originally moved to deny this in full. However, going back over some research on the national level and state level, basically what we've come to is that if they're inconspicuous, out of sight, they're okay, but if they're in sight, most of the time boards of this nature would have denied those. And so our argument here is, viewed from South Park Street, it's very hard to see the top of the roof of this house with or without the trees because it's a 3-story tall roof. So we thought, that being said, that those panels were fine to have on the top of the roof. But it's these that were in question here, this part of the roof that kind of juts out towards Colorado Avenue. You can see those clear as day driving towards Park if you look on the right side. And the garage is kind of a gray area, and we wanted to leave that up to y'all to decide on because you can see them from the street, but it is pretty far set back, and so it kind of blends with the roof more. But overall, our recommendation was for a partial approval for 207 South Park. And we're basically saying that the approved solar panels be mostly, if not completely, out of sight at the street level, and that the approved solar panels meet all obligations of the DHRC, and that the owner obtain all appropriate building permits for the solar panels.
I have a question. Are all the solar panels already mounted on the roof that are going to be there?
I don't believe so.
I looked at it again yesterday, and it looked like there wasn't any on the front, but then I looked
Yeah.
at the plan.
Well, it's very
I
hard
guess
to
you really
see.
can't see them from up there.
Yeah, it's hard to see those. And it was mainly,
So you're saying
these.
historical with the state or, with the historical society, they're saying that if they don't have a problem with them if they're
Out of sight.
kind of out of sight, out of mind? I mean, that's kind of what the rest of the country's doing, I guess, or?
the Department of the Interior just uses the word innocuous, basically, like, so you can't see it. Or, was that it? Conspicuous. Yeah,
Fancy words.
Okay.
apologize. But it really wasn't, hey, this is definitely denied or this is definitely approved. I mean, it's really up to y'all.
Kind of on a case by case, but there's really no definitive word from the Historical Society.
Correct. They're just really looking to make sure it doesn't change the character of the
Sure,
home.
I understand.
This being low slung roof lines,
Yeah.
the ones you certainly can't see from the street, it certainly doesn't change the character. The question is, the ones that you see from the street level, does that really change the character of the home or not? It's hard to say. That, you know, that word conspicuous is, you know, can you see it or can you not? And
Okay. Anybody have any more questions for staff? We'll close this portion and open it for public comment. Is there anyone here who would like to speak for or against this project? Janet? Please state your name for the.
I'm Janet Harvey, and 207 South Park is where I live, and the panels are all up. The bulk of them, David, that you're not seeing are on the back of the garage. They're on the back, so you can't see them. And I walked around trying to get a picture of them, but then I was in other people's yards, and so I don't really have a picture to show. But we are also very much wanting to keep the character of the house, and always have, and don't feel that these are taking away from the character. You can't see anything from the front.
Go ahead.
Yes, not for Janet.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Janet.
Well, I guess I do. I don't know if it's Janet or the city. So just to be clear, we're just talking about removing them from the porte cochere on the Concho side or Tewig side.
the Colorado side, I
Colorado
think that's
side.
correct.
That's correct, yeah.
Really? Okay.
And the garage was up for
And that's
question
up
for
for
y'all.
discussion. Okay.
Is there a representative here from this company? I mean, is that gonna, okay, we do have a representative. I have a question about that. Please state your name.
Good morning, my name is Justin Duncan. I'm head of design and engineering with Fast Track Energy.
If those are removed, is that gonna be a major issue as far as the,
Yes, there'll have to be repairs from the attachment points.
oh, but I mean, is there gonna be enough surface area for you to power this house if those are removed?
No, sir.
So they're not. Yeah, that's what I had a question about. So then if we deny this and they have to be removed, I mean, if it's not gonna work, then they'll all just have to come off, correct? If that section there, if we don't approve that section.
Well, portions of the design, it really comes down to the codes that are established by the city with fire setbacks, which is why there's borders around for firemen to scale the roof, et cetera. That's the reason why the panels are placed where they are. And simple well, you need solar, that's why this happens. Simple geometry, we have these roof sections, but I'm sorry, it's the vegetation here. I'm from Lubbock. It's very flat, and there's only cottonseed there. But essentially, the solar panels are mostly in the inconspicuous areas that aren't facing the street. It's difficult because it's a corner house, but due to height, we actually gain some advantage there from visibility's sake. So when it comes to powering the house, the customer has this size of a system to offset their usage. And that would hinder, if we removed panels or sections or total arrays or even the entire system, it would completely hinder the ability for the customer to have net metering.
Well, if the panels were taken off where that porte cochere were put back there on the right, over there on that other dormer, yeah, right there, could they not be put there?
Yes, I actually will go to the house and review what this commission says. But there are other roof services, but they're very limited due to size. And so the reason why this particular right here was placed was literally because of there's no penetrations in the roof. It all goes there very seamlessly and actually quite aesthetically. So it actually looks, I mean, I know it's a historic house as well, but it's a pretty handsome installation if considering a lot of the roofs that we have to install on. So.
Anybody have any questions?
Also, David, you can see less of this now. This photo obviously was taken earlier, and there's foliage there. And most of the year there is foliage. You can see less of these panels.
Okay. Anybody have questions? Thank you very much. We'll close public comment, open it up to the board. So really, staff is just saying, yeah, I don't have a problem with it if the stuff on Colorado was removed. Is that kind of what y'all are Because I noticed there was another email brought on before I even got here.
Well, and that's
Kinda
just
snuck
from
it
an
in.
aesthetic standpoint and what's been kind of the benchmark set nationwide. I mean, you know, you brought up a good point with the usage of it, but, I mean, this is really a board just to look at aesthetics of things, so it's,
I don't know, personally, I don't, like I said, when the trees aren't up, you're gonna see it anyway. If it's just that one section, really, when you drive by the house, you really don't even notice them. You know, it wasn't a big deal to
It is a
me.
3-story house and high.
Yeah, and the
So-
height of the house, so that's just my thought. I don't really have an issue with it.
I don't think the garage is fine as well.
And I
Put it
think
up
this
for-
will be a good standard. We're setting a
Yeah,
standard.
I think what we need to maybe put in the recommendation is the fact that if these do come up again, that they need to be put in the most inconspicuous place as they can. You know, this one kind of got, I don't know what happened on this one. It kind of got thrown in here on us. And, but that's, would be my recommendation if somebody would make a motion that if it does come up again, that staff or, you know, I think a lot of this got put in before it even got to the board. That's where a lot of it didn't work out. I don't know how that, something got dropped, but,
Yeah,
because it didn't, because they don't require a permit to do it until you hook up all the electrical to it. So that's why I think a lot of this never was brought to us.
Well, there is a
Correct?
permit required for the structural portions, like he was talking about the anchoring to the
Yes.
roof. And I think they were notified of that this had to go to the board. I know the building official is investigating of why it was, some of it was done before. I know the
Oh.
final connections have not been made.
Okay.
If you do, if whoever is wanting to make a motion, make sure you make, if you're looking at the full, you know, as it is, make sure you make that motion, not what staff has recommended as a partial approval. So
So
just keep that
the
in
biggest
mind.
issue on this, just because it was an historic, if this wasn't a historical home, would this be even an issue here? I mean, would this
Probably
still be?
not. Correct.
But it would still be brought to this board
The certificate of
because of the
appropriateness.
changing the aesthetics of the house.
Yes,
Okay.
so, because the way it's worded in the ordinance, that any construction, and this being
Yes.
construction, now the question is it appropriate? Obviously, maybe not ideal, but is it really affecting the character? And
Yeah.
I think we go back and forth of, is it really affecting the character of this specific house? And probably not terribly, so.
be
This is
clear.
such a beautiful home, and it's the first, I guess, that we're seeing of a historic home with solar panels here in San Angelo, but this is nothing new, I would say, on the East Coast. You know, this is happening, this is the future.
So can somebody make a motion?
I make a motion to approve CA 22-03 as presented.
With the stipulation?
Oh, wait. No, not as presented. As presented by the applicant, yeah. Or she would have to take off those panels.
Yeah, because we don't want to do what staff said.
Yeah.
As presented by
We
the
don't- we don't wanna do what they
applicant.
say.
Yes.
Let me say it again.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Let me
Restate.
start over. I make a motion to approve CA 22-03 as presented by the applicant with recommendation
Yeah.
for staff, help me out.
Well, if this is brought up again, that any future project would,
It'd have to be separate.
Yeah, I'm not sure we can
Don't need to
condition
say that.
approval on this case for like future cases that
Okay.
haven't come,
Alright.
so I wouldn't do that.
okay. So did you get that?
Do it
We have a
again.
motion and a
This is why I don't want to be
second.
vice president.
I'll second that.
Got a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Yep. Okay. Thank you very much.
So that, yeah, we need to explain.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Janet. Okay, that includes our regular meeting of the Design and Historic Review Commission. Our next meeting is, I don't have any information on
Thursday,
that.
Oh,
June
that-
16th.
We have a question?
Yeah, there's a public comment portion
Okay.
also that's next.
Fluger, I don't know whether I'm in public comment or before. on that 5 West Concho, the renderings were all of the building face, did not show the sidewalk. The sidewalk, I planted those trees 40 years ago, and the sidewalk needs considerable repair. I'll probably go into tears at some time to try to get some funding for that. Can our DHRC approval
I don't think we did-
include
I think
going
that
in the
goes to
sidewalk, or
engineering.
do
I don't think we
I mean, I don't know what the
voted on
rules are, but
Isn't that
could that
correct?
just
I don't
be
think we-
added on if there's some sidewalk, we'll do some sidewalk work and,
Well,
Mr. Fluger, is
We'll
it,
go through
is
the
the
DHR.
aesthetics of the sidewalk changing any? It's basically just replacing concrete. Is that?
replacing concrete.
Yeah, we would do that outside of this process.
Take the cracks away so aesthetics will change.
Well, yes, but yeah,
Okay.
that will be, we'll get
Will
worked through.
will be part of DHRC when I come to tears and they say, are you approved DHRC?
I don't think that has to
And
come
then-
before us.
Correct, yeah.
We don't do sidewalks, yeah.
Correct.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lee. Any more public comment? Is there a division report?
Well, the only thing on the division report, I think Mr. Fisher had mentioned it maybe a couple of meetings back, that they're working on a historic district for parts of downtown that may come to the board coming in June. We're not 100% sure yet, but that's kind of what we're projecting. And so as that comes forward, Jeff will have some more materials for the board. And that may be a larger meeting in June because of that, because it may affect a number of businesses or properties downtown. So just be aware of that for our June meeting. And Jeff or Kyle, do y'all remember what day that meeting is? Well, I guess it's on our agenda, huh? So yeah, the 16th. So as you are board members looking at your calendars and you see, hey, I might not be there on the 16th, we just want to make sure we have a quorum and go from there. So.
Thank you. We have announcements. The next regular meeting of the Design and Historic Review Commission is scheduled to begin on Thursday, June 16th, 2022 at 10 a.m. in the East Mezzanine Meeting Room in City Hall at 72 West College Avenue. Okay. Need a motion to adjourn? A second. All in favor? Thank you, everybody.
10:47, thank you all.